we find ourselves looking for sources online. Unlike a library where you can be sure the materials have been vetted, the internet offers a multitude of content that hasn't necessarily been curated in any manner. As such, it is often up to us to do the vetting of sources we find to determine if they are valid and relevant for our research. There are sites on the internet that offer access to scholarly sources that have been published in peer-reviewed journals, like Google Scholar. Your college library website might also grant you access to online databases. You can then find articles like this one. Beyond knowing you got them from a valid, reliable search engine, you can see here the name of the database outlining what it specializes in. Below, you can see the various authors involved in the article, as well as the date. At the end, the references are listed. This has everything expected of a scholarly source. However, often when we search online, we don't stumble upon obvious scholarly articles. Rather, we find different sources of information on a topic. An example may be a site like this. This is a website of an organization created to, as it states, stop bullying. To determine the value of this source, we need to look for the same information as the scholarly. First, we need to learn more about the organization, what it is, what it does, and its purpose. We can find this out by going to the bottom and clicking About Us. This gives us background and a context for the content we find here. We can see what other organizations it mentions or links to. This can help us determine its credibility, as well as how current the information is. In looking through its content, we can also see various references to other sources on the topic. Taken all together, we can get a better sense for this source's audience and potential bias or slant towards the topic, helping us to decide how and if we will use it. Another source of information we may find may be an article on an online news source or magazine, like this one on Turbo Future. Like with the previous site, we still need to learn more about what the site is about. Go to the bottom and click About Us. This will give us a solid sense of the nature of this online news source, what it covers, who contributes to it, and so forth. Back to the article at the top, we can learn more about the author, as well as when the article was published. This can help with determining credibility, as well as how current the content is. Like the organization's website, the article references various other sources on the topic. With all this information together, we will be better able to judge the goals and potential bias of the piece, and thus the merit of this source for our purposes. To wrap up, the internet can offer us a great number of sources of information on a topic. However, if we aren't using library databases or known scholarly search engines, we can't be guaranteed the nature and quality of the sources we find. To help us with this, we need to consider and look for information on the following elements within the sources we find: the organization or author responsible for the content, the date when it was published, what other sources it references, and the nature of those sources, and what the tone, purpose, and audience of the source is for potential bias or slant on the topic. As noted, this information can be found usually at the bottom in the About Us section, either at the top or with the copyright, within or at the end of the content, or through skimming through the content itself. With this information on hand, we can then better judge and evaluate the usefulness of a source for our needs.